Hello. Today I'm going to baste a quilt, and you go ahead and get your sewing and something to drink, and I'm going to work on this quilt. I am trying to baste this quilt together. I had started it back about 2 months ago when I was here in Michigan, and then I left, and now I'm back. And I never got it completely basted, so it's like I'm starting over again. That's okay. So this is going to be a quilt for my grandson. He is 2 going on 3, and he is ready for a bigger bed. So this was a panel that I have that I think he will like, and I like this panel because I don't really have to do anything to it. It already looks like a quilt, and it has these adorable little robots on it, so I think he's gonna like it. As you may know, my favorite way to baste a quilt is with my basting gun, because for me this is much faster than pinning. So just to remind you what I'm doing, I will put down, I'm using light blue flannel on the back, and this will be nice and soft. I have Warm and Natural in the middle. I use this for a lot of my quilts. I just like how it sews well, whether I'm going to quilt it on the sewing machine or whether I'm going to hand quilt it, so big stitch or otherwise. So then I lay out the top. The big thing when you are basting with the gun is you got to make sure everything is really flat. Now this is how I do this, and it is my favorite way. Usually when you start basting a quilt, you start in the middle. I don't like doing that, not with this. I've done this enough that I start on a corner. So all I'm doing, that has a nice sharp point. This is just like a gun that you get for the tags are just like the ones on your clothes, except these are short so that they will hold your quilt together. So I basically punch, 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 roll, punch, 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 roll. I try to keep it no more than my hand's width. So let me just get started. So this all started, at Christmas time. My older grandson, who's five, I made him, he's crazy about puppy power. Is that what it's called? Puppy something? Paws, something about paws. Paw Patrol, there it is, Paw Patrol. And so I found some Paw Patrol fabric that had all his favorite characters, and I know which ones are his favorite because he tells me. And so I thought, well, I've got to make a quilt out of this. And it was, again, something that was like a panel. It was very easy to do, so I whipped it out for Christmas. And then at Christmas, when he opened it, he was very excited, but his mother was even more excited because she said, oh, Teddy needs one too. The younger one needs one too because he's going to a big bed soon. So I'm thinking, okay, all right. And that was all that was said. Now, I always have a rule when I make something for the kids or family, I get to choose what I work on. So I never ask, what kind of quilt do you want? Because people who aren't quilters, they will tell you crazy things that you can't make with a quilt. And it's just insane if you try. So, and I never like to try to figure out, colors and things, because everybody's, I never know if they're changing colors of rooms, if they have a specific theme, those sorts of things. So for this one, I wanted to make sure that it was all different colors. So now I'm putting more tags in. I just slip them in the top of my gun and I'm ready to go. Let's see, I already did that row. So these tags, when I am quilting it, as I get to a tag, I will cut it with scissors off the quilt. As I'm putting my hand underneath here and I'm keeping my fingers apart so that every time this comes down through the fabric, it's between my fingers. You do have to make sure it goes all the way down through the fabric, but you got to be very careful because this is extremely sharp. This is what works for me. And so I never did learn to baste with pins because I just thought, oh, that just sounds really, it sounds really tedious. And I was a much younger and more impatient woman back then. So I tried this when they first came out, and I'm talking, this is like 20 years ago, at least it was the first time I saw it. I tried it, and it has been my favorite tool ever since. My favorite way my only way I will baste. The only way. I don't have a long arm, so that would be my second favorite probably if I had a long arm, but I don't have a long arm. I don't really want one because I really do like to free motion quilt on my sewing machine, and of course I love to hand quilt. So also, if I have one more thing in this room, someone's gonna call the hoarder show and come after me. And those are big, those machines. They take a lot of room, as some of you know. But this, we are almost done. So now I'm able to do this pretty fast. As my hand is underneath, I can also make sure that bottom is tight and not tight, but make sure it's flat and no bubbles. But that doesn't ensure that you won't get bubbles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off all this extra, and then I'm gonna flip it over and see how I did as far as tautness on the back. That's always the tricky part, no matter how you baste. That's the one thing that long arm basting has a big advantage, is because the machine will keep it nice and taut. So as you baste through it. Okay, I tackled a few drawers this week that I decided, went through and just went through and decided there's too much stuff in my drawer, so what can I let go? What can I give to a friend, just get rid of, take it to Goodwill, whatever. And then I made some dividers for my drawers with cardboard. Because my business, I order a lot of products and things that I will sell at shows and at retreats. I have a lot of boxes that I throw out, and I hate that I throw out so many boxes. Now it is nice because one of my distributors, they send boxes that they've gotten from, I think, a grocery store or some kind of distributor, because it always says some kind of groceries on the outside. So I love that they reuse boxes. So at least those, when they come to me, have already been used twice, which I like. Okay, so now when I will cut, once this is all, as you can see, basted, then I go through and I will leave a good 3 inches. If you're going to take your quilt to a long armor, she will tell you how much she needs you, if you're going to baste it and not her, she'll tell you how much extra she needs. Let's see, I think they always baste it, but they always tell you how much extra they need to put it together. That's what it is. I should know that, but I don't know. Because I don't do that much. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I have seen some of you do some beautiful work on long arm machines. Super fun. I would love it if you have questions to go ahead and ask those in the comments, because I love to answer questions. And also, if you want to hit the subscribe button, that just helps me out. And I just discovered, and I did not know this before, some of you are going to laugh, I just discovered what the notification button does. Because I too have my favorite YouTube channels that I like to watch. And I knew I could subscribe, and I knew I could check my subscription and go see who's made something recently, but I just found out you can then turn on the notifications right at the subscribe button, so that it will then give you a notification, and it showed up on my phone, which, you know what, wasn't bad. So I'm liking that a lot. That way I can just pick up my phone and go, ooh, we all have our favorites. Ooh, there's another video. If you have some of these scissors, I love these scissors. Oh look, everything's purple. These are Karen K. Buckley. They cut like butter. It is amazing. And the quilting tool is made by Quiltak. If you're somewhere and you're looking for one of these, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you get one from Quiltak, because I've had trouble with others. And was it just me? I don't know, but they jammed very quickly. Hang on just a second. And one of them jammed them. I had one of these for 20 years and it wore out, which 20 years, I thought that's pretty good. I bought another one, but it was from a different company, and it jammed the first time I used it. And I'm pretty good at getting things, you know, unjammed, but that thing, could not. Could not. So I made sure, I looked at it and realized, even though this was not the same one. Pay attention here for a minute. And so then I looked online. Sure enough, Quiltak still made this, which I was so happy. Don't you love it when something you're afraid they don't make anymore and it's your favorite, and you find out they still make it? I love that. And that one was one. So that's always what I highly recommend, is the Quiltak gun. Okay. So, oh, that's right. So now let me show you. I'm going to flip it over. And all I'm looking for, and I'll show you how tight I like it. Now, it doesn't have to be like so taut like you're pulling on it. It just needs to be so that, as I know from quilting so much, I know how much give I can have that will quilt out. So you might be able to see there, some of this has like a little bit of like bubbles. That does not worry me. That's going to all quilt in. But if I found anything that had, you know, a bubble that looked like it was going to be bigger, I would simply cut, like if I had one here. Ooh, I don't have a tag here. I can see the tags from this side. If I see a bubble here that I want to fix, I will just cut out the tags with scissors and just retack that part, retack that section, making sure I didn't miss any areas, because it is really important to have about a hand's width. I tend to go a little bit bigger, but you know, it's best to keep it about a hand's worth. So again, that's the Quiltak gun. This is my favorite way of basting. This quilt now, what I think, I'm still trying to decide. Am I gonna do big stitch? This really calls for big stitch. I think I'm going to. I'm gonna take this down to the couch where I watch movies, and tonight I'll start. I'm just gonna do big straight lines because that's what looks really good, especially with these cuties. Isn't this fun? I think he's gonna like it. If you have any questions about basting or about the Quiltak gun, just let me know. And like I said, I love to answer questions that I can answer on one of the future videos. So thanks for joining me.